जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरावनचारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरावनचारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा राधनाथ राधा राधनाथ राधे गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन ओ गौरा हरि जय गौरा हरि जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्यास्तोत्र सरस्वती श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajika Srimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Saranda Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki jai. Nilachal Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Ganga Mai ki, Jamuna Mai ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, their Lordship Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Giriraj Govardhan ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Janitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 11, Text 1. Text 1, entitled Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting. Stop fighting. We're reading from text 1, so we'll do the word for word. Maitreya Uvacha Nishamya Gadatam Evam Rishinam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandade Astram Upasprishya Yan Narayana Nirmitam. So let's try this. Maitreya Uvacha Nishamya Gadatam Evam Rishenam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandadestram Upasprishya Yannarayana Nirmitam. Maitreya Uvacha Nishamya Gadatam Evam Rishinam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandadestram Upasprishya Yannarayana Nirmitam. Prabhuji's. Try. Do you have it? Maitreya Uvacha Nishamya Gatatam Evam Rishinam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandadestram Upasprishya Yannarayana nirmitam Maitreya Vacha Nishamya Gadatam Evam Rishinam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandadestram Upasprisya Yannarayana Nirmitam Maitreya Vacha Nishamya Gadatam Evam Rishinam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandadestram Upasprisya Yannarayana Nirmitam Maitreya Vacha Rishinam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandade Upasprisya Narayana Nirmitam Maitreya Vacha Nishamya Gatatam Evam Rishinam Dhanusi Dhruva Sandadestram Upasprisya Yannarayana Nirmitam. So we will do the word for word. Maitreya Uvacha. The sage Maitreya continued to speak. Nishamya, having heard. Katatam, the words. Evam, thus. Rishinam, of the sages. Dhanusi, upon his bow. Dhruva, Dhruva Maharaj. Sandade, fixed. Astram, an arrow. Upasprisya, having touched water. Yat, that which. Narayana, by Narayana. Nirmitam, was made. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sri Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj heard the encouraging words of the great sages, he performed the achamana by touching water and then took up his arrow made by Lord Narayana and fixed it upon his bow. You can repeat. Sri Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj heard the encouraging words of the great sages, he performed the achamana by touching water and then took up his arrow made by Lord Narayana and fixed it upon his bow. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj was given a specific arrow made by Lord Narayana himself, and he now fixed it upon his bow to finish the illusory atmosphere created by the yakshas. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:14, Mam eva ye prapatyante mayam etam tarantite. Without Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one is able to overcome the action of the illusory energy. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu has also given us a nice weapon for this age, as stated in the Bhagavatam, Sango Pangashtra. In this age, Narayana Ashtra, O weapon to drive away Maya, is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in pursuance of the associates of Lord Caitanya, such as Advaita Prabhu, Nityananda, Gadadhara, and Srivas. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmi Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Tarati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpadurubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it's a continuation from the previous chapter, which ended by Dhruva Maharaj being attacked by the yakshas who released weapons that were creating an illusion on the battlefield. And it is explained that Dhruva Maharaj was actually bewildered by this illusory energy that was created by the yakshas. And it's also explained that because Dhruva Maharaj was a great Vaishnava of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, by his inspiration, the sages, who were also great devotees, they have the Supreme Lord in their heart. And by inspiration of the Supreme Lord, they went to encourage Dhruva Maharaj on the remembrance of his position and his relationship with the Supreme Lord. So you'll find that sometimes we require this even if you are practicing every day, because we are actually not on a very advanced level of Krishna consciousness. We need this on a regular basis to be reminded of our constitutional position and our relationship with Krishna. Especially if we are endeavoring to preach in the material world and to engage in devotional activities whilst living in the material atmosphere, we may forget and may be allured by the material energy to act on that platform again. It can happen. But if we are sincere, then Krishna will help us. He will send you Vaishnavas who are properly situated to assist. But we have to be sincere. We have to be sincere in our, what it says. There's two things that is required to make progress on your spiritual path. The first one is purity of intent. You have to have a purity of intent. Means you have a desire to actually satisfy one spiritual master and Krishna sincerely, without any aspiration for any ulterior motive. One must be willing to satisfy one spiritual master and Krishna. Then one's intent is pure. And thereafter, one must have a consistent approach to that intent. That means continuously, consistently, one must be regularly practicing one's sadhana very sincerely. So Prabhupada has given us so many instruments to overcome the material energy. One of them is called the morning sandwich, the sandwich program. Starts from Mangal Arati, all those prayers that we are saying, very powerful prayers. I remember even from the beginning, just reading those translations to Tulsi Maharani, that prayer was the most ecstatic prayer in the whole morning program. Tulsi prayer, because Tulsi Maharani, she is very merciful. I remember once Badahari came to South Africa and I was his personal servant, and he used to lead the morning Tulsi Puja Kirtan, and I haven't experienced that feeling again when it came to that specific Aarti, Tulsi Puja. It was so beautiful, and that experience will always remain. That's actually the mercy from the Vaishnavas. They share their happiness with us. So just remember that purity of intent and consistency of one's practice, without any deviation. One is continuously, like you go on book distribution and you knock on the door and there's no reply. So what do? You go away. So I was on book distribution, and Lakshminath used to park his van in the side. So he should send all of us out. So we'll all go. Now myself and Parita Pavan, we adamant. We will only leave the door when we are sure that there's nobody at home. So we had another Bhakta that was actually with us. His name was Tashveer. So he used to go to the doors. He used to make hello 2 times and then he's gone. So Lakshminath will wind his window down and he'll say, Haribol, go to that Prabhu, go to those houses that this Prabhu did on this side, because he only said Haribol 2 times and then he's gone. So I remember myself and Parita Paul went to those exact same houses and we distribute books to all those people in those houses. So one thing I got from that, there's a lesson to learn, that one must be persistent. Even when one is approaching one's spiritual life, he has to be persistent, not to give up. There is so much to gain. There's so much to gain. We have many faults, right? We have so much of faults. Even after practicing for so long, your faults become even more clear. We find that we are situated in a certain place in our spiritual life. And to go to the next level requires determination. Determination, because if you really look at it, and if you're very serious about your spiritual life, and if you understand what Srila Prabhupada has actually given us, Prabhupada said that when one takes to the process, Krishna consciousness, one is declaring war against the material energy. So it's quite a big thing, right? Remember, you was in this material world for a very, very long time. It's explained that 8,400,000 in species of life, you have traversed all this 8,400,000 species of life. Now you get human form of life, but still, Manusyanam Sahasreshu. Krishna says that out of many, many thousands of among men, one may endeavor for this perfection. But even out of those who have taken the path for perfection, hardly one knows him in truth. And then Prabhupada mentions in the 9th chapter text 3, Ashradanaha Purusha Dharmasasya Parantapa. That verse is saying that there may be many people that will come to Krishna consciousness. He also says that there are 3 classes of devotees that come. And one class of the devotee is that he comes for a different purpose. He comes for an ulterior motive. He is not actually a devotee. Although he may be dressed as a devotee, he may be using the tilak. He may have everything adorned as a Vaishnava. but at heart he is not a devotee. So we have to analyze our consciousness and figure out where we are situated. Because the Hare Krishna mantra is meant to free us from the illusory energy. However, even after so many years of practicing, if we are still attracted to the material energy, that means we are not practicing properly. Am I right? We're not practicing properly. Otherwise, we should make steady progress. You know, when you run in a sprint, I don't know if you have actually taken part in sports, but you must have seen Jai Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Giriraj Govardhan ki, Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. So they'll make on your marks, get steady, and then go. So we all actually, we are on your marks, we haven't got steady. Because steady means you are on Nishtha, right? And when you are Nishtha, then you're ready to go back to Godhead, right? I mean, for my own personal practice, still on the level of anatta nivriti, it's a struggle. But at least you should know. You should know what are the obstacles. What are the obstacles that are not allowing us to actually move? If we are situated on Nishtha, everything will move. Everything will start moving. The movement will actually spread. Devotees will, their Krishna consciousness will affect the population of the country, the population of the world. Even on the level of Nishtha, we will have some potency to actually infect Krishna consciousness to others, even on that level, which is not a very advanced level, but still, the potency is there. But on a level of anatta nivriti, we'll find ourselves struggling. And if you are actually struggling, how can you help others who are also struggling? So Vishwanath Chakravarti gives you 5 obstacles that we have to overcome, that one has to actually remove in order to go to the next level, which is Nishtha, and to actually progress. The first one is called Laya. Laya is a very common one. Basically, it means that one is lethargic during his chanting and remembering the Lord. Laya basically means you fall off to sleep while you're doing your japa, or you get drowsy. Or Srimad Bhagavatam class. You get drowsy, you fall off to sleep, it becomes disinteresting for you, boring. So that's on the level of Laya. That's an anartha. And that has to be removed. Because when you fall off to sleep during japa, what's happening? You're not hearing and you are not chanting. Right? You fall off to sleep, these things are not going on. So then how are we going to get purified? You start moving the beads on his, the beads will start, or your counters start moving automatically. Because it becomes struggle. Every time you put your hand in your bead bag, you doze off to sleep. It means one should sincerely offer obeisances to the Vaishnavas. With sincerity, he should offer respects to the Supreme Lord. These things can be overcome. It's not that, hey, this is a disease and it's what body you have and I cannot overcome this. It's a sickness. It's an anartha. It can actually be removed. Right? What's after that? Vikshepa. Vikshepa basically means talking about mundane subject matters during devotional activities. While you worship in the Lord, maybe, on the altar. While you dress in the Lord, you can talk about mundane things, like about another Vaishnava, their fault, something like that. These things are, it happens. Why it happens? Because we are habituated by these things. Right? So that's called Vikshepa. During your spiritual activities, you are thinking or you are doing mundane activities. You're thinking about mundane activities or you are doing it. Or you're speaking about it while you engage in devotional activities. What's the third one? The third one is called apratipati, which means the first two is absent, but still one is disinterested in hearing and chanting. The first two is absent, but still one is disinterested in hearing and chanting. And the fourth one is kashaya, which basically means one exhibits anger, greed, or arrogance during devotional practices, especially hearing and chanting or whatever. We see this happening with ourselves, right? And what's the fifth one? Rasa vada. Rasa means taste, something like that. Rasa vada means taste for material sense enjoyment. So while engaged in devotional activities, one is completely absorbed, practically meditating on sense enjoyment while he's even doing his japa or is engaged in devotional activities. You'll find that these things will happen when we are actually offensive, because they are actually connected to the 10 offenses of the holy name. These 5 obstacles that we have to overcome, they are actually connected to the 10 offenses of the holy name. It's an offense to be inattentive whilst chanting the holy name of the Lord. All these things, they all actually connect. Because if one is attentively hearing, then the anarthas will be removed. So these obstacles are actually not allowing us to hear and chant. Because while we are trying to hear and chant, we are thinking about mundane things. You're thinking about another Vaishnava, he is false. All these things are happening in the mind while you're chanting. So there's not actual hearing going on. There's no hearing going on. Which means if you're not hearing, then there won't be any feelings that will come later on. There won't be any ecstatic feelings. No emotions will actually take place that will inspire one to worship the Lord with ecstatic feelings. Hence that you'll find the Hare Krishna mantra is, Prabhupada says, Lord Caitanya Sango Pangashtra. He says that Narayana Ashtra for us is the Hare Krishna mantra. That's our Ashtra. That's our weapon. Well, you find that when you take the weapon, like Dhruva Maharaj, what did he do? He touched water and he invoked the Narayana Ashtra, the weapon made by Lord Narayana. And what happened? It was effective. He eventually dispelled the illusion. Why? Because he was pure in his intent. Because he was pure in his intent, he had purity, he was able to invoke the mercy of the weapon, and when he shot arrows at the illusory energy that was created, it became very effective. When we pick up our beads to chant Hare Krishna, the same effect should be there. Purity of intent and consistency of one's endeavor. Prabhupada also mentions that one has to be enthusiastic, that even though we have all these faults, there should be some enthusiasm there. In the kirtan, one should be enthusiastic to glorify Krishna. Because if one is actually dwelling on the faults that one has, then there's no ecstasy, there is no enthusiasm. So there actually should be enthusiasm when one is hearing and chanting. Right? Also, one should associate with much more advanced devotees than himself. There must be somebody that's more advanced than you, that you can take association from, you can learn from, you can chant with. Because that's the way to actually make tangible progress in Krishna consciousness, is take association from more advanced devotees. Or you can also read the books by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, which is filled with so much of inspiration. When you find that you're actually feeling down, pick up Prabhupada's books. They basically speak to you wherever you're situated, and they help. They help you to overcome your distress. And you'll find that during your practice of Krishna consciousness, there will be many moments that will actually put you down even. Because remember, you're trying to overcome the material energy, which you have been associated with for many lifetimes. And now you're trying to overcome it. So there will be obstacles that will come. Most of the obstacles will be directed to you in the way that you have enjoyed it previously. They come back to you. They're basically like ghosts. Like the yaksha send these ghostly beings that was created by them, and they send it to Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj got bewildered by it. All this created. There was one thing that they created was an entire ocean of dissolution. And this, now imagine you seeing that. Just one weapon that created an illusion of dissolution, an entire ocean culminating and moving forward with force towards you. How would you feel? We don't get that kind of illusions, right? Our illusions are tiny. But we expand on those illusions. This is so great. I cannot actually overcome these illusions. It's too great for me. And after some time, because you're meditating on how great the illusion is, you become weaker and weaker and weaker, forgetting your actual position and the potency that you have. Prabhupada says we are minute, although we are minute, infinitesimal parts of Krishna, but still, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, we have potency. We have the potency to actually overcome Maya. And that will be done. But how long that will take place, that actually depends on our enthusiasm. And in all come, when you preach Krishna consciousness, first before you preach, you have to become strong. Because otherwise out there, as a youngster, you're going out to preach universities and all. You're going to see other young boys with their girlfriends. That can actually make you feel like that can also be an illusion. It can make you think, hey, why shouldn't I? I'm young. I can also be like them. And I can be normal, chant Hare Krishna, have a girlfriend, and be a devotee. So all these things can actually come up and actually dissuade you from your process to make progress. There's many things that can dissuade you from practicing Krishna consciousness vigorously and strongly, and then giving that energy to others. Krishna consciousness is actually a force, it's an energy. When you practice it nicely and you give it, the people, they feel that energy, they feel that force. But it has to be practiced attentively, intently, satisfying Krishna, satisfying the spiritual master. There may be a lot of faults even in the practice and our endeavors, but our intent should always be of purity and consistent. If you do the same thing, Prabhupada says, if you do the same thing for 7 years, you become perfect at it. How many years we chanting Hare Krishna? I'm chanting Hare Krishna for more than 7 years. I'm not perfect at it. Definitely I'm not perfect at it. But I'm good at some things that I've done for 7 years, and that's distributing books. Right? Distributing books. I feel confident when I go out and speak to people. The preacher should be confident that Krishna is protecting him. He should be confident that I'm able to transmit whatever Srila Prabhupada and our Vaishnavas have actually given to us, to others. And especially now you'll find the illusory energy seems to be so much stronger than when I first started practicing. Because you realize that there are more advanced devotees living the planet. Right? And this world, devoid of advanced devotees, the illusory energy seems much more daunting, right? Like our most recent one, His Holiness Kanamakanana Maharaj, he left. He is a very advanced devotee, pure devotee, no doubt. So another great soul leaves. And then now you'll see, as we are practicing, there will be more great souls that will be leaving. What does this mean? Prabhupada says you should not become, or you should not remain a neophyte your entire life. You will have to make advancement. Because one day, you will have to be the advanced devotee. We're always looking for advanced devotees to lean on. Which will be there. But one day we'll have to be that advanced devotee for somebody else to lean on. Right? For people to take guidance from. For people to take shelter from. We have to become that. We may not be that now. But as I said, there must be a purity of intent and a consistency of one's endeavor in that intent. And we will get purified. And we will be influential. We will influence. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions? Hare Krishna, Ravindra Swarup.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your wonderful class. I just want to make a comment in regards of what you spoke to about performing mundane activities while doing devotions. I mean, like talking Vajrabha while performing devotional service. So, while cooking, performing devotional service, while cooking, we should not perform Vajrabha. We should talk some things in relation to Krishna's pastimes. And if you talk Vajrabha during cooking, so it's not going to be nice. So, yeah. So, we should not talk Vajrabha while cooking and stuff like that.
Now that's very true.
We should talk something about Krishna's pastimes, glorifying Krishna, etc., etc.
That's a good point. Because, that's a very good point, because everybody is going to taste that. I mean, the preparation that was prepared for Krishna, that will be offered to Krishna. So, I mean, the person is eating a prasadam. They'll know, hey, this cook was talking about me. That's a joke. If he was complaining about me, I'll know when I'm eating the prasadam. But it's a fact. When you are cooking, whatever energy you put in there, that energy is going to be transferred into the fire, and which will eventually go into the preparation, into the food. Your consciousness is transferred there. That's why, I mean, if you're sure that you can't do that service, leave it for somebody else who won't do the prajalpa. But if there's no cooks and then nobody wants to cook, and then everybody is complaining on the cook, I mean, then you should just eat what's been cooked, because nobody wants to cook. Then you got few devotees who volunteer to cook, and they're doing their best. And even though there may be some fault in it, that is perfect. That may also be perfect. Even though there may be fault in it, because they have a volunteer to render that service. So sometimes there may be a lot of things that you can look at, because it's not just all straight that you can just mark something in black and white. You understand? As I said, purity and intent also means that the person has certain faults, but they're still continuing. And the fact that Krishna has allowed them to continue, and that means he is accepting their service. And when that prasadam is going and it's offered, even though there may be some fault, Krishna is accepting it and he'll purify it. And when we take that prasadam, we'll get purified. So that's why because this question was actually raised when I was in Mayapur. Janani Vas and Pankaj Jangri Prabhu, they were asked the same question. Devotees are cooking, but while they're cooking, they're talking about mundane subject matters. And he responded amazingly. He said actually, we have a past. And our past is not so easy to overcome. It's just some people take lifetimes to overcome their anarthas. He says, you are trying to actually overcome it, right? But when another person is trying to overcome their anarthas, and if you see this thing, you should think, oh, this person is actually trying to overcome it. Even though he's showing all these faults, he's still continuing in his devotional service. Krishna will accept that service. He'll purify that service. What do you all think? Anybody else? It's because me personally, I mean, I can't cook, right? But if I'm asked to cook, then I'll cook. But it's not to be the best cooking. You know what I mean? But whoever is cooking, they're doing a great. Ravindra Swarup is actually a good cook. Cabbage specials.
Hare Krishna. Related to what you were saying now, my Guru Maharaj writes in one of his books that it's a higher service to offer what is needed rather than what we want to do. Like for example, if someone is thirsty and you give them a glass of water, that's higher than just giving someone a glass of water when they don't want it, just because you want to give the glass of water. So that's the same principle for all of our services. If we see what is needed and we do that, then that's actually higher or more pleasing to Krishna than just doing what we want to do. And that also implies we're more surrendered. And that's why it's more pleasing. And Krishna, because he's pleased by that, he will obviously purify whatever fault may be there, even though, because we're trying.
Yeah.
And there's that verse in Bhagavad Gita, I don't remember which one, but it says, we should do our own duty imperfectly rather than someone else's perfectly.
Perfectly, yes, that's true. I mean, yeah, that's a very good point, that everybody is trying their best. And we should make sure we actually give our best. I mean, even if you're doing the deity worship, that deity worship affects everybody else also. Because if the person who is actually dressing the deity, if he says, my Lord, I want to dress you so nicely, you must look so beautiful, that when the devotees look at you, they may be attracted. Because that's the whole point of actually worshipping the deity. It means that you have to look at Krishna and see how attractive he is, the way they dress the Lord. You understand? We have to be attracted to this. So, if the pujari, if he has that kind of intent, even though there may be a lot of faults, but because the intention is always right and he's trying, then that service that he's performing will be purified, and we will all get the benefit. Also, you see, it's actually a collective effort. Sankirtan, this is a Sankirtan movement. That means everyone's energy is actually combined. Whether you're doing BYS programs, they're doing the deity worship, one is doing Sankirtan, one is doing the cooking. It's all Sankirtan. And it's all a combination of effort. All this energy brought together makes up our daily activities. This is the Sankirtan movement. It's not just she's doing Bhakti Yoga program, he's doing Food for Life, somebody else is doing deity worship, another person is doing cooking, like this. They are all not separated activities. They are combined. They are one activity. And it's all meant for the glorification of the Lord. When we understand this, then our combined effort as a congregational effort will have much more vibrancy. Everyone will be much more happier when we understand that everything we do in every department is actually combined. That's Sankirtan. And with the with the purity of our intent, you put that, and if everybody is very sincere, then the effect will be transcendental. even though we have faults, eventually all these 5 obstacles will vanish. Everyone will make advancement. Srila Prabhupada ki